What do you tell brand newish white belts who think about competing?
Yeah.
Girls, boys. Is there a difference in how you speak to them in terms of competition?
Yeah, I think everyone is an individual. So, like, that's why I'm not really like, you know, some people say, like, I treat boys and girls the same, old and young the same. I can't relate to that at all because I think every person is different. Everyone's an individual. What works for one person doesn't work for another person. So, for example, like for me when I train, I love to know what the workout is before I do it, the day before, and then I work out so much better. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to smash it. It's good. But some people are like, no, I just like to rock up and I don't want to think about it. And I'm like, whoa, that just so wouldn't work for me. And I think training is like that. In jiu-jitsu, I've seen so many different people like, no, I just have to be there to have fun. And I'm like, whoa, I can't relate to that at all. Or I just don't mind if I lose. I'm just there to learn. And I'm like, wow, that you have that like mindset is amazing. It so wouldn't work for me. Like if I had a coach who was like, just be there to have fun, I'd be like, you don't understand me.
No, not at all.
At all. We're not gelling. And even Tingy is always like really lovely when I compete and he just lets me be serious because I don't feel lighthearted. I feel so nervous and stressed out because I take it too seriously. And so it's kind of nice, you know, and I think that depending on the person, again, I just let people chat to me and I try not to give too much advice because it's so overwhelming. I think the main advice that helps the most for white belts or in the beginning with people competing for the first time in MMA is to understand the points and to think about like the first thing that you do in the fight, because I think that sort of having an action plan helps you calm some of those nerves. Like, okay, I've just got to get my first grip. Okay, this is the first punch combination that I'm going to do, and rehearsing that a lot. So, you know, if you, for MMA, you start on opposite sides of the cage. So this sounds really silly, but like I would be really nervous because jiu-jitsu you start up close to one another so you can grab them straight away. And MMA being on the opposite side of the cage and having to manage distance is awkward. I found it really awkward. I was like, can I just run in and grab them? Or like, do I have to like, you know, how do I get in? Like, how do I close the distance? What does that look like? So I practiced the start of the fight a lot. Okay, now I'm going to use this combination to get in and get my first grips. And I've just found like that advice I've given to a lot of people, like boys that have started MMA and had a fight night, I'll be like, okay, let's just be on the other end of the cage. We'll practice together. What's your first combination going to be? And then they're like, they do it again and again and again. So when that moment comes where it's their first time, they at least have some clarity and some sense of like focus. And I think for jiu-jitsu, it's like, okay, you don't have to know the whole fight. It might be a bit of a mess, and it's allowed to be because like sometimes it just is. But what guard pull are you going to do? You know, I think that's important. Like what grip are you going to do to get your guard pull? What's the first sweep? So that at least you can kind of start on the right foot. I think that really helps. So that's like my number one, I guess, thing that I say to people. That I think at the moment, and a lot of people have said, oh, that really helped me. Like when I was so nervous, just having like one thing in mind that I was going to do. I think action helps when you're an overthinker. It helps me anyway. So, yeah.